On this spot, on April 19th, 1998, a gang of children was spotted moving along the sides of local buildings in a style similar to that of the amalgamated superhero Spider-Boy. The group of children became known as the Bad Kids Gang, and their savage reign of surreal violence threatened locals for almost 16 months.
Escaped experiments. Vigilantes protecting the city streets are preying on them. Police are running scared. Nobody was safe.
This is it. We're going in after Zaxxon. The most powerful force in space. It's gonna try to blow us away.
File number 143C. Subject, the Bad Kids Gang. Date, April 19th, 1998. One, event.
The Bad Kids Gang defied laws of both the municipal and gravitational variety, and first came to public attention April 18th, 1998, when they were spotted moving horizontally along the front faces of buildings along Hastings Street.
To origin.
It is now widely acknowledged that the members of the Bad Kids Gang were all children previously utilized in studies performed by the Sublime Initiative for Abnormal Macrosettlement Research from 1989 to 1998. While some were most certainly runaways, evidence now suggests that a sizable portion of the children,
13 to 54%,
had been obtained by Siamer agents from local arcades, comic shops, and other gathering spots for less desirable members of society. Records of these abductions are either missing or corrupted, possibly deliberately. Over the years, the children were exposed to a variety of mind-altering programs, including psychoactive drugs, electrical cerebral stimulation, electromagnetic therapies, surgical enhancements. Through these programs, it was hoped that the children would develop perceptual capabilities, which could allow them to influence the fundamental structuring of reality. Actual abilities were varied. A handful were said to have partially mastered remote viewing, and a pair of twins developed limited emotional telepathy. There was a pyromaniac prognosticator who knew the future of anything which was lit on fire, and another who could communicate emotionally with arthropods. Working together, the children were capable of both warping physical matter, as well as harnessing the ultra-dimensional energies through a series of programs which would eventually give rise to the... These energies allowed the children to generate actual living beings, or tulpas, whose forms were often dictated by the children's subconscious minds. In addition to these mental skills, one of them learned a trick referred to as a gravitational shift, a learned distortion of orientation, which he seemingly taught to the others. Gained through a judicious application of a DMT-derived substance applied directly to the subject's exposed cerebral tissue, this skill enabled them a full 360 degrees of motion, capable of treating y-axis as x-planes.
3, Old Shoeless Bill.
During a manifestation experiment, one of the children used their ability to conjure up a sort of monstrous boogeyman, described as a large man with knives for eyes and spiders for fingers and rats for teeth. He wore a long coat and a large hat, like something you'd see on the cover of a dime store detective novel, and he was always smiling, hideously. He haunted the children as a meme, a bedtime story, a modern folk tale for several weeks, before one of the adults saw him skulking about in the backfields and realized that he was also a physical presence. Nicknamed Old Shoeless Bill, he acted primarily as a comedic foil for the children until the night of October 30th, 1997, when under the cover of darkness provided by the Black Moon, Old Shoeless Bill staged a 9-hour attack on the holding facility, resulting in the death of 5 guards, 2 children, and 3 of the scientists. While Old Shoeless Bill was said to have been discorporated when the program was shut down, there have been rumors that he maintains the ability to reform himself, and does so in certain neighborhoods on certain nights.
For the escape.
Previous to their scheduled executions, the children emotionally overpowered their captors and made off into the night like a pack of feral raccoons.
Five preliminary sightings.
On April 19th, 1998, 3 weeks after escaping from the SciAMR child holding facility, the Bad Kids gang was spotted for the first time, reportedly lobbing rotten produce at a police car before evading the police by moving vertically up the side of buildings. Police attempted to arrest them, but everybody had to agree that there was just no way of getting at them. Of course, a bunch of cops wanted to try shooting the kids down, but there were some obvious flaws in that plan the cops nevertheless ignored for a good 20 minutes before the chief came down to scream at them and threatened to take away their guns. 16 innocent people were shot that day, and while thankfully none of the shots were fatal, the fact that none of the kids got hit really made the cops look like assholes.
Dix, the onslaught.
For the next 16 months, the Bad Kids gang, as they became known, ruled over East Vancouver like sugar-high despots. Police were said to have entirely abandoned the region, though emergency services, as well as public transit and postal carries, were allowed to pass unobstructed. But anybody who fucked with the kids in any way, shape, or form was exposed to a degree of physical and mental assault considered nightmarish. Through use of psychic visions, the children were able to peer into the minds, homes, and dreams of local residents, and thereby sniff out the ones who were causing the most harm to the community. At first, they had some fans amongst the local residents. There were some folks who'd even vocally cheer the kids on when the gang was mostly known for setting fire to animal abusers or telekinetically exploding the kneecaps of people who sexually exploited minors. Things began to change, however, after a young man was found with his innards spread out like a thick jelly across the back wall of the Astoria. His head, which was somehow still attached to rest of his semi-gelatinous body, was said to have screamed for 16 minutes before finally succumbing to the bizarre severity of his injuries. As near as anybody could ever discern, the only thing that young man had done to deserve such treatment was something as simple as talking back during a tense situation.
Then there was another similar case involving an old man who was atomically scrambled, the molecules of his body entwined with one of the cement support structures of the Canby Bridge.
And what had he done to incur such intense wrath? Simply asking one of the gang members to turn down their music.
Seven, conclusion.
By spring of 1999, the Bad Kids gang was gone. All traces of their existence were wiped from public records, and most people found that even trying to remember the Bad Kids gang would give them a bad, itchy feeling in the back of their mind, like they were trying to use a limb that wasn't there anymore. As near as anybody knows, internal conflicts took down the gang. A couple of the kids were getting a bit older, and their violence activities were threatening to get
even more
needlessly brutal and senselessly random. Persistent local legends suggest that it was not the leader or the chief brawler who took the team down. In the end, it was the weird, spooky, quiet kid, the one who'd had their head popped open and scrambled a few times. A little bald goth kid of indeterminate gender with a ring of scars around the crest of their skull. Over a period of several weeks, each one of the bad kids was found, necks broken, hearts pulled out, bodies disposed of in dumpsters. Until only one remained, and when only that one was left, they went fully underground. They disappeared into the weirdness of this city and haven't been heard from since.